Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor Ipshita Bansal from BPS Women's University Sonipat. Today we are going to discuss about the module Oral Communication and its types under the paper Business Communication. By the end of this modules, the students will be able to understand first the concepts of oral communication, second, the types and styles of oral communication. Third, the advantages and disadvantages of oral communication. And fourth, how to make oral communication effective. Paul Mayer has stated, communication, the human connection, is the key to personal and career success. Communication, as we have understood in the previous modules, is an activity that involves the exchange of ideas, information, feelings, and thoughts between the participants of the communication process to convey the right message through speech, signals, writing, or behavior. Communication process involves a sender who intends to send the message through the medium to the receiver. Communication is an important in success of the organization and at the personal level also. An idea, no matter how good it is, will not be implemented if it is not communicated effectively. While communicating, people sometimes become biased by their emotions, thoughts, perceptions, and their attitudes that act as a barrier to effective communication of the message. So, to deliver the right message, the need is to understand the viewpoint of the receiver also, and then frame the message, selecting the right kind of medium to transmit the message. What are the types of communication? Let's review quickly. As discussed in previous modules, communication has two basic types: non-verbal communication and verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is a form of communication where the message is being conveyed through non-word messages, which includes cues also. The example of the non-verbal communication include gestures, eye contact, body language, first impressions, postures, clothing, etc. Verbal communication, on the other hand, is the form of communication where the message is transmitted verbally through the words, that is, orally or by writing the message. Verbal communication is of two types: oral communication and written communication. In this module, we will be learning in detail about oral communication. Oral communication involves the use of spoken words. It is a process that involves face-to-face conversation, telephonic conversation, speech, communicating to radio, television, voice over the internet, etc. This form of communication is more immediate than written form of communication. As we can see in the diagram, the aggressive communication focuses on what the speaker wants, and the passive communication focuses on what the other people want. Assertive communication develops a balancing win-win situation of integration of what the speaker wants as well as what the other wants. Let's now understand in detail the principles of oral communication. First principle is clear pronunciation. In oral communication, pronunciation of the words should be clear and correct. If the pronunciations are not correct, the message will lack clarity and the receiver will get the distorted message, not the same as intended by the sender. Second principle is proper preparation. Before starting the oral communication, the sender should be clear about the message to be transmitted. Also, it is the responsibility of the sender to ensure that conducive environment is present for the effective speaking as well as effective listening. The sender should also ensure that the receiver is fully prepared and ready to listen. For example, if an executive wants to discuss an important operational matter with his superior, then he should be very clear about what he wants to convey in clear terms. Also, he should make sure that he talks to his boss when she is not engaged in some other important work, or already some people are meeting, so that she can give the executive undivided attention. Third principle of oral communication is precision. Oral communication will be effective if it is precise with clear meaning of the message. Fourth principle is natural voice. The sender should not fluctuate while communicating orally and should use natural voice rather than artificial voice to avoid any distortion in the message. The fifth principle of oral communication is proper planning. The sender should plan beforehand for communicating effectively as to what has to be communicated. Sixth principle of oral communication is simplicity. The sender should use simple, easy, and understandable words while sending the messages. Seventh principle is avoiding emotions. In oral communication, the sender might get over-influenced by the emotions that might affect the communication process. So, a sender should control the emotions for effectively communicating orally. Eighth principle of oral communication is efficiency. Efficiency means maximum meaning in minimum words. Speakers' efficiency and skills plays an important role in effective oral communication. Ninth principle of oral communication is vocabulary. Using proper vocabulary. In oral communication, a speaker should use most familiar words to communicate because different peoples understand different meanings of the same words in different situations. Let's now consider some of the definitions of oral communication. According to Ricky Griffin, oral communication takes place in face-to-face conversations, group discussions, telephone calls, and other circumstances in which spoken word is used to express meaning. According to Bovey and others, oral communication expresses ideas through the spoken word. So we can say that oral communication involves transmission of messages from one party to another through spoken words. First medium of oral communication is face-to-face communication. It means that when the ideas, thoughts, emotions, viewpoint is exchanged face-to-face, that is, the participants are at the same place physically. This helps in creating connection and loyalty. People can judge easily about the intentions of other person while communicating face-to-face. Examples of face-to-face communication involve meetings, group discussions, interviews, etc. In this type of communication is done through but not limited to many of the devices. Here, communication can take place through dictating machine, through intercoms, telephones and cellular phones, computers using voicemail, and video conferencing. Let's now understand different styles of oral communication. First style is passive communication style. This type of style is adopted when one is unable to stand for one's rights. While expressing his feelings, the person is cautious and apologetic. In the case of conflict, The person with this style will not be able to protect his rights and will be taken for granted due to not having the ability or willingness to take a stand. People with passive communication style give out a message that they do not think that their own views are important. It helps people to escape anxiety and keep peace. Always accepting others' views, even if one does not actually agrees with them, or not being able to say no to the commands or requests, also come under passive communication style. Passivity in communication leads to feeling of anger, resentment, victimization, and wanting revenge, which ultimately leads to a lot of stress and health problem. Passive communication style is not an effective style of communication. The second style of communication is aggressive communication style. In this style, the people stand up aggressively for their rights and are likely to violate the other people's rights. Aggressive communication style may make one believe that one can get what one wants by being aggressive. By such communication style is not suitable as this reduces mutual trust and respect. People adopting aggressive communication style express their feelings and emotions in an inappropriate way, even though they may be aware that they are wrong. They impose their views on others, which is likely to result in hurting the feelings of others. This ultimately leads to a lot of stress for both the parties and deterioration of leadership. Aggressive communication style is also not an effective communication style. The last communication style is assertive communication style. This style is the balancing position between the above two styles. It is an empathetic way of communicating with people. People adopting assertive communication style stand up for their rights without violating the rights of other people. In this style, a person expresses his viewpoint openly, honestly, and politely, but firmly. People with self-confidence, high self-esteem, and knowledge about the situation or subject they are talking about adopt this style of communication. Assertive style results in creating win-win situations, improved decision making, earning respect from others, and developing long-term fruitful relationships with people. There are various types of oral communications. Let's discuss them one by one. First is intrapersonal communication. It is a type of communication where a person holds conversation with oneself. It mainly arises when a person needs to make a decision in a certain situation or when the person is introspecting about one's acts or decisions. It involves critical analysis of the situation by the person or herself and instill self-awareness and mindfulness. Second type of oral communication is interpersonal communication. In this communication type, two or more people are involved. Interpersonal communication can be both informal as well as informal setting. It is undertaken to take decisions, ponder over situations, finding solutions, or simply talking informally. Third type of oral communication takes place in small groups. This type of communication takes place in a group of 5 to 10 people. In a formal situation, small group communication is used for brainstorming, discussions related to official matters, jointly finding solutions to various problems, resolving conflicts, etc. Small groups meet at the workplace to discuss issues related to work or for problem solving or team building purposes. In informal situations, this form of communication fulfills the emotional needs like companionship, family bonding, and affection or support. In learning situations, students often form small groups that regularly meet for study discussions or to work collaboratively on projects. Small group communication can also take place at public places or with strangers for specific purposes. Fourth type of oral communication is public communication. Public communication, also known as public speaking, involves communication between a speaker and an audience. Speaker should try to inform or to persuade the audience to act, buy, or think in a certain way. A politician may make speeches on how he will be dealing with certain issues to win their votes. Public communication is a very important type of communication when a message has to be conveyed to a large number of people in one instance, or when a large number of people have to be influenced. For this, the speaker should know the important techniques of public speaking. These will be discussed in detail in a separate module. Fifth type of oral communication is mass communication. Communication that is sent out from a source to many receivers over a large geographical area, possibly all over the world, is mass communication. It uses media like films, radio, videos, and television. Next type of oral communication is corporate communication. Communication that takes place among members of an organization. Within that organization is corporate communication. Interacting in teams, conferencing with co-workers, talking with superiors, giving employees explanations and directions, making presentations, and interviewing people are some examples of corporate communication. Effective corporate communication is helpful in enhancing the corporate image and positively affect the morale, commitment, and productivity in corporations. Employees who feel like they are genuinely listened to by their managers are likely to have high job enthusiasm, feel more committed to their company than those who do not feel listened to. Another type of oral communication is intercultural communication. Intercultural communication is communication between people of different cultures and ethnicity. The world is increasingly becoming a global village, and every country has people of various ethnicities. So while communicating in such a scenario, diverse nature of the communicating people or parties have to be kept in mind. For example, in countries of Asia, students will seldom contradict or disagree with the teacher in the classroom, as this shows disrespect. In Western institutions, it is the norm for students to think for themselves and engage their teachers in debate and discussions, many times contradicting them also. Some examples of oral communication at workplace are meetings, presentations and lectures, workshops, group discussions, interviews, conferences, telephonic conversations, voicemails, personal conversations, etc. What type of style a person selects to communicate depends entirely on the self-assessment, that is, a judgment about one's worth, needs, and desires. Assertive style is the best style for communication, which depicts a win-win situation for the parties involved in communication process. Now let's learn something about strategies for developing assertive style of communication. First strategy which can be adopted is review your communication style. A communicator should introspect whether during oral communications he states his opinions or remains silent. Does he always say yes to a command or request even when he is already quite busy? Are people scared of him or want to avoid him when he is communicated? If the answers to these questions is yes, then communication style is passive or aggressive. The communicator needs to develop assertive communication style. Second strategy is have clarity of goals. A speaker should be very clear about the goals of communication so that this clarity is manifested in his speech also and is able to design his spoken words appropriately. Third strategy is rehearse the communication message. If it is stressful or challenging for the speaker to say what he wants to or thinks, he should rehearse the communication message beforehand from a written script if necessary. With time, after repeating this strategy in some situations, assertive communication will come naturally to him. Fourth strategy is use I statements. Using I statements denote what the speaker's views are and is he firm about his views. Say what you want to say out aloud. Fifth strategy is use clear and precise language. A speaker should use clear words and language which the audience can understand easily. Also, to be assertive, it is important that language should be precise and crisp to convey the clear message. Sixth strategy for developing assertive style of communication is use suitable non-verbal cues. The body language plays an important role. Upright posture, firm eye contact, steady voice, and confidence should be maintained by the speaker while communicating. Seventh strategy is be emotionally stable. In challenging or conflicting situations, it is important for the speaker to stay emotionally stable. A speaker during a communication process may be feeling angry, frustrated, or even weepy. Such emotions are barriers to effective communication. If the speaker feels too emotional going into a situation, it is advisable to wait for some time. Practice remaining calm, take deep breaths, and keep his voice even and firm. Eighth strategy for developing assertive style of communication is start with low-risk situations. Practice the newly learned assertive style of communication in low-risk situations with friends or acquaintances before practicing it in high-risk situations like communicating with the boss. So, what are the advantages of oral communication? Let's try to understand. Oral communication provides the rapid exchange of information no matter how far speaker or sender or listener receiver is. It provides the quick feedback as both the parties are involved in the communication are in direct contact with each other. It also helps the speaker or sender in measuring the level of understanding of the listener or receiver through the facial expressions, body language, gestures, and feelings of the receivers. Oral communication offers flexibility in expressing the ideas and using the power of words and the language according to the understanding level of the receiver. It is economical source of communication as the sender and receiver are exchanging information orally. Oral communication provides personal touch to the communication, which is likely to help in building mutual trust and confidence between both the parties, resulting in the better flow of information and ideas. It provides the chance to both the sender and the receiver to remove misunderstandings as that there is no intermediary between the sender and the receiver. Oral communication is very useful for managers in motivating their employees. Through oral communication, when seniors interact with their people with respect to decisions to be taken, listening to their grievances, appreciating them, employees feel integral part of the organization, which acts as the source of motivation for them. So, now let us understand what are the disadvantages of oral communication. Oral communication is more useful and suitable for short messages because it is not possible for the receiver to remember the lengthy messages. So, oral communication is not suitable for lengthy messages. Oral communication is not useful for the important matters like policies, rules, technical information because this information is required to be preserved as record and complied with. There is lack of evidence in the written form during oral communication, which can be referred to at a later stage. Hence, such messages are not suitable with respect to communication of rules and regulations, contracts, etc. Whenever the sender or receiver is in a hurry, then it will lead to misunderstanding. The lack of clarity can be due to many reasons in the oral communication, such as noise coming from outside, voice not audible, mic clarity faulty, noise in the telephone network, etc. Sometimes the speaker and the listener, especially in meetings, may distract from the agenda of the meeting and undergo lengthy conversation which leads to the wastage of the members' time. In oral communication, the presence of both the parties is necessary. Otherwise, the process of communication cannot be completed. It requires great attentiveness and reciprocity on the part of the receivers or audience. Now let's learn how we can make oral communication more effective. The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. It was stated by George Bernard Shaw, which is very correct. We think that communication has taken place, but actually it has not, because the other party has not understood anything. But this is not always the case. People speak and assume that the listeners have understood the message in the same way as was intended, which very often is not true. There are many barriers to communication, about which we studied in Module 5 on barriers of communication, which creates distortions of message and thereby leading to wastage of time and resources. In this section, we will discuss how to make oral communication effective despite the barriers. First, minimum use of technical jargon. Communication becomes less effective due to excessive use of technical jargon, especially if the listener does not specifically belong to the speaker's specialized area. In oral communication, the barrier is more challenging as listener of the message has to understand the message instantly and cannot take the hard copy with him to understand the message after referring to dictionary. So make oral communication effective, there should be minimum use of technical jargons. Second, overcoming emotional barriers and taboos. Some people may find it difficult to express their emotions or may not be able to control their emotions so as to word them effectively in a message. So people should postpone the communication till the time once emotions are stabilized. Breaking taboos. Some topics may be completely off limits or taboo, which, due to the cultural norms of the society or the workplace, are not supposed to be freely spoken about. For example, illegal activity by a senior member of the organization, or sexual harassment at workplace, or even need to make the organization more gender friendly. It is the duty of the senior managers to create an environment where such taboos are broken and people feel comfortable to talk about these issues. Fourth way to make oral communication effective is paying attention. Sometimes the receiver is busy with some other task or his mind is preoccupied with some other thought, due to which he does not listen to the message with complete attention, acting as barrier to oral communication. Consequently, the message is not received as intended by the sender. So when communication is going on, the listeners should commit to give their full attention to the speaker. Next method to make oral communication effective is ensuring conducive physical environment. Sometimes the physical environment where the oral communication is taking place creates a barrier. There might be a lot of noise in the surrounding area, due to which the speaker's voice does not reach the listeners properly, or the seating arrangement is such that listeners are not able to see the non-verbal cues, gestures, postures, and general body language of the speaker, due to which understanding is hampered. So before communicating, the speakers as well as the listeners should ensure that conducive environment is created for effective communication to take place. Eighth method of making oral communication effective is training to deal with language differences. In today's times, there is lot of diversity at workplace. Not only the employees working in the same organizations may be having diverse mother tongue, but they might be catering to different stakeholders speaking different languages. This might limit the listener's knowledge of the vocabulary of speaker, creating a barrier in communication. Another issue related to language differences is the same language. For example, English being spoken in different accents, making it impossible at times for the listeners to understand the unfamiliar accent spoken by the speaker. To deal with such language differences, proper training should be given to the people concerned in the capacity of both listeners as well as speakers. The next method of making oral communication effective is overcoming prejudices. This can be a barrier to oral communication because people don't pay attention to the real message as intended by the speaker, but assign meaning to the words, keeping in mind who is speaking, and may understand the message differently because of certain prejudices against the speaker. This prejudice may be due to his race, caste, color, or just the fact that the speaker had complained about the listener in the past. If people want to be effective communicators, they should work on themselves to be free of such prejudices and think rationally. Management, on the other hand, should conduct training for interpersonal communication skills. Eighth method of making oral communication effective is thinking beyond the stereotypes. In the same manner, stereotyping may also act as barrier to effective oral communication. For example, because of gender stereotyping, it may be believed by some people that women's position in the organization has to be subordinate to men. Such people will not comply with the verbal instructions given by a woman and will question every decision conveyed by a woman boss to her subordinates. Since such beliefs are the result of certain type of socialization and hence difficult to change, but effort should be made by the top management of the organization to bring about psychological changes in people through workshops and seminars. The ninth way of making oral communication effective is understanding cultural differences. The norms of social interaction vary greatly in different cultures, as do the way in which emotions are expressed. Also, people belonging to different cultural backgrounds have different worldviews, that is, different way of looking at the world and its happenings and giving meaning to them. To be good communicators, people should develop an understanding of cultural differences among people. Organizations should provide diversity training to their employees whenever the situation demands. If all these strategies are adopted and kept in mind, then effective oral communication can take place. So, students, now let us summarize what we studied in this module. Oral communication is that communication in which the parties involved in the communication transmit the message through spoken word. In the oral communication, the sender and the receiver both exchange their ideas via speech through any of the channels used for communication, such as face-to-face communication, conference, seminar, telephone talk, video conferencing, etc. There are mainly two components of oral communication: words which are used while communicating and the manner in which the message is delivered. Oral communication is an important medium of communication in the organization. Thank you.